Welcome to today's show. How's your week going? Did you enjoy the rain yesterday? I wasn't a big fan of the rain yesterday, but frankly, with the number of hours I'm spending in the basement these days, about 14 hours a day, sometimes I don't know if it's sunny, raining, snowing, sleeting, hailing. It's just kind of crazy these days. So, once again, we're going to cover three different events that took place on today, May 6th, throughout history. So let's get started. Our first story takes us back to May 6th, 1527 in Rome, as German and Spanish troops under the leadership of Charles V began sacking Rome, or began taking over Rome, bringing about the end of the Renaissance. Libraries were destroyed. Pope Clement VII was captured and thousands were killed. 147 out of the 189 of Swiss Guard, the people that protect the Pope, were killed. I know that was a really fast story, but frankly there aren't too many videos to share about the sacking of Rome and the end of the Renaissance. But if you look at the work cited, there's a great link with a lot of detail about all the things that took place with the ending of the Renaissance there and the sacking of Rome. I really encourage you to check it out. Our next story is about innovation and travel, because on May 6, 1936, the Hindenburg airship departed Germany, and on May 9th of 1936, it arrived in Lakehurst, New Jersey, having completed the very first ever scheduled transatlantic flight. A year later, which I find very interesting, exactly a year later, on May 6th, 1937, at 7:25 p.m., the giant German airship Hindenburg, also known as a Zeppelin, burst into flames and crashed to the ground as it attempted to dock with the mooring mast at Lakehurst Naval Air Station in New Jersey. Carrying 36 passengers and 61 crew members, the Hindenburg left Frankfurt on May 4th for its transatlantic voyage of the 1937 season. A total of 36 died when the fire ignited the 16 hydrogen-filled cells and destroyed the Zeppelin in only 34 seconds. This included 13 passengers, 22 crew members, and one of the ground crew. The airship was 803 feet long and had private rooms for 50 passengers. It had about an 11,000-mile range. We're going to watch a film about the Hindenburg crash right now.
The ill-fated Hindenburg on her last flight sails over New York. These pictures, made from a Pathé News plane less than 4 hours before the tragedy, show the world's largest airship heading for Lakehurst, New Jersey. Over Newark's famous Hotel Skyway, the airship was hailed by thousands who little dreamed it was their final glimpse of the Hindenburg. Inside the silver envelope are 16 separate gas bags, each filled with hydrogen, a highly inflammable gas. From the ground, you can see the forward control cabin from which the ship is operated. The windows along the side indicate the location of the passengers' quarters, in which many were carried to a flaming death. Approaching Lakehurst, the Hindenburg appeared a conquering giant of the skies, but she proved a puny plaything in the mighty grip of fate. It almost seemed as if fate had set the stage for the horrible tragedy. A graceful craft sailing serenely to her doom. For 3 hours, the dirigible circled the landing field at Lakehurst, New Jersey, dumping more water ballast than ever before in vain efforts to level off. Again she dumps ballast, and a nervous tension grips those who are watching, for this is something unusual. There goes more ballast, but the tail is settling in spite of all that has been dumped. a grim note of impending tragedy. Finally, the landing lines are dropped. These scenes were filmed by Pathé News cameraman William Deek, and you are about to see the pictures he got when the ship exploded. Those aboard leaping for life from a flaming inferno. The actual crash of the Hindenburg. An airship destroyed in less than half a minute. Rushing to the rescue, the heroes of the tragedy dash in, heedless of danger, to help the injured to safety, while others, beyond help, perish in the flames. The blazing aftermath reveals the extent of the disaster, an inferno which became a flaming tomb of what was once a mighty airship. Her tragedy will not halt the march of progress. From her ashes will arise the knowledge, from her fate the lesson, that will lead to a greater and a better means of mastering the air.
So does that count as 3 stories or 2 stories about the same day in different years? Well, you're in luck, as we have one more innovative story for today either way. Our last story takes place kind of underwater, where on May 6, 1994, Britain's Queen Elizabeth II and French President Francois Mitterrand formally opened the Chunnel between their two countries. Now, the Chunnel is a tunnel dug under the English Channel so that people can drive from Great Britain, an island, to France on a continent. You can also take a train. So we're going to watch a newsreel about that right now.
Arriving for the 9:53 to France. This was the Queen's first glimpse of Waterloo's glittering international rail terminal. From here, the Eurostar Express will begin its 3-hour journey to Paris. Today, it would travel just as far as the French shuttle base near Calais. Little comfort for the man who must bring this unique excursion through the tunnel on time.
It's a really great honour, and I'm really proud to be doing the job, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Right on cue, Nigel Brown's Eurostar emerged from the gloom to meet its French counterpart. The presidential train had lost a little time on the high-speed track from Paris, but skillful driving brought the futuristic locos head-to-head on schedule. The formal opening ceremony at Chunnel preceded another first. The return journey in the Royal Rolls aboard Le Shuttle. This is how fare-paying passengers will travel from October. Half an hour to stretch your legs. Just the change in atmosphere to indicate that you're in the tunnel. There's little to do as the blackness rolls past, but daylight is back in no time.
Our music tribute today goes to the godfather of soul, James Brown, who had a statue dedicated to him on May 6, 2005 in Augusta, Georgia. Right now, we're going to watch one of his live performances. So that wraps up our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you look forward to tomorrow's show. So now go seize the day. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected to your education and teachers through Google Classroom. See you tomorrow.
Honey,